It started like a digital ghost story, a whisper from nowhere, a symbol without a face. Just a letter, Q. What followed wasn't politics or protest. It was prophecy. From obscure online threads to global headlines, QAnon grew into something dark, something alive. Followers believed in a hidden war, a righteous uprising against a secret elite manipulating the world. Families fractured, violence followed, and truth became a battleground. Yet through it all, Q remained silent, invisible, gone. But the story didn't end. Recently, something new has stirred. Fresh messages, uncanny familiar patterns, and a sense that someone, maybe something, is keeping the flame alive. In this episode, we step into the darkness once more, where belief becomes obsession, and the internet's most haunting mystery refuses to die. The storm didn't pass, it just changed shape, and somewhere in the shadows, the next chapter waits to be written. It began in the shadows of the internet, October 2017. A message appeared on 4chan, anonymous, cold, and deliberate. The writer called themselves Q. No face, no voice, only code and secrets. They claimed to hold Q-level clearance, deep within the US government, where secrets aren't written down, they're buried. Q didn't speak plainly. The messages were cryptic, like riddles passed from a ghost. They warned of a hidden war, not one of bombs or bullets, but of influence, corruption, and a global elite pulling the strings behind the scenes. Politicians, celebrities, CEOs. The names were hinted at, never spoken. The crimes? Unspeakable. People watched, then followed. Then I believed. It began like whispers in a storm, hidden, scattered. But those who listened closely heard something deeper. A name, a voice, Q. No one knew who he was. Some said a government insider, others a rogue agent. But his words, they burned through the web like wildfire. And with every Q drop, something darker spread. Followers hooked to his riddles, convinced they were decoding a hidden war. A twisted group of elites, politicians, media giants, financiers, accused of controlling the world. Their crimes? Unspeakable. Ritual abuse, child trafficking, all hidden in plain sight. Then came the promise of the storm, a cleansing fire led by Trump. They believed he would unmask the monsters, bring them to justice. They waited, armed with screenshots, rage, and certainty. The quiet began online, in corners most people never dared visit. First, it flickered on 4chan, a chaotic forum where truth and fantasy often blur. There, an anonymous figure named Q began dropping cryptic messages. With no face, no voice, and no traceable identity, this mysterious stranger drew in thousands. The clues hinted at global corruption, secret arrests, and a storm coming to cleanse the world. Then it moved deeper into the web, onto 8chan, a space even less restrained, more dangerous. The posts grew darker, the followers more obsessed. Reddit hosted early groups, decoding Q's messages with precision. But as the movement grew louder, Reddit banned them. That didn't stop the momentum, it only spread the fire. In the digital fog of late-night forums and endless scrolls, something was brewing, something powerful, something unseen. QAnon wasn't just a theory, it became a force, and it didn't grow alone. Behind the glow of every screen, algorithms whispered in the dark. Programmed for attention, not truth, they began pushing Q's content into millions of unsuspecting hands. Each sensational post lit up like a flare in the night, drawing more in. The conspiracy spread like wildfire. Then came the strangers, faceless influencers, cloaked in usernames. They didn't beg for attention, they commanded it. With polished videos and cryptic clues, they told stories of betrayal, of hidden enemies, of a world no one else could see. People followed them blindly, many donating, sharing, even swearing support. It began quietly, barely a whisper on extreme message boards. But by the 2020 US election, the whispers had become a storm. A hidden force began to grow behind the scenes of politics. Followers of a mysterious figure called Q were no longer just unknown users online. They had become real people, running for office and standing by a secret story. Marjorie Taylor Greene, once a name unknown, rose from the darkness with messages drawn straight from Q's world, and she won. Then came January 6th. Among the crowd that charged the Capitol steps, a strange figure appeared, hooded, silent, clutching a flag not of any nation, but of a belief. QAnon symbols fluttered like warnings, etched across signs, scarves, and stairs. The calm appearance broke apart. The Capitol, once seen as secure, turned into a scene of chaos, as Q's ideas jumped from online messages into real-life events. It started as a whisper, low, unsettling, easy to dismiss, but the message spread. In the corners of the internet where light seldom reaches, a shadow moves. Q, no face, no name, just a signature, a mysterious stranger with a digital voice that dripped with secrets. Soon, that whisper crept out of hidden identity and into the living rooms of millions. Pop culture became a vessel. The strange signs and secret messages started showing up in TV shows, songs, and popular online posts. HBO's Q, Into the Storm, tried to follow the breadcrumbs, but the path only deepened. Vice and Frontline tracked the movement, yet even they couldn't pin it down. Every answer led to another locked door. It began with whispers, claims of hidden corruption, dark rituals, and powerful elites pulling unseen strings. But behind the smoke, nothing solid ever stood. The global cabal QAnon warned of never leaving a single verified trace, not a name, not a case, only shadows. Q, the faceless oracle, promised reckoning, mass arrests, a returning leader, a storm that would cleanse the world. Yet every deadline passed quietly. No storm came, only silence, and the deepening grip of belief. But something else stirred. The FBI had been watching, and it issued a warning. QAnon was no longer just an online curiosity. It was now classified as a potential domestic terrorism threat. The beliefs, once confined to message boards, had inspired violence, disrupted families, and drawn blood. Fact-checkers, Snopes, PolitiFact, the AP, rushed to the fire with evidence and reason. They combed through the messages. In times of turmoil, the line between reality and delusion thins. As the world struggled under lockdowns and political unrest, a nameless figure emerged, hidden behind screens, cloaked in coded messages. No face, no voice, only the promise of hidden truths whispered in the dark. He didn't shout, he didn't beg. He simply watched and posted. For many, fear was already in the air. People were anxious, isolated, desperate to make sense of chaos, and that's when the trap tightened. Q's words weren't just ideas, they were lifelines. Each cryptic drop, a spark that lit fires in minds already burning with doubt. A global audience played detective, but the clues led deeper into the shadows. What began as curiosity quickly grew into allegiance. Their minds were clouded by what they already believed. Instead of looking for the truth, they looked for things that supported their fears. And they found it, at least they believed they did. The stranger never revealed himself, yet his influence grew. He was nowhere and everywhere. It began like whispers in the dark, soft, scattered, easy to ignore. But soon, those whispers grew teeth. Beneath the glow of anonymous screens, something violent was waking up. Law enforcement had been watching. Quietly, carefully, they saw the shift before anyone else, the way cryptic messages turned into obsession, and obsession into action. A pattern began to form. The dots connected in blood. The FBI issued a chilling classification. QAnon wasn't just online noise. It was a potential domestic terror threat, but by then, it had already spilled into the real world. Hoover Dam. A man, eyes hollow with belief, locked himself in an armored vehicle. He blocked traffic and demanded answers. Answers no one had, to questions no one had asked. He believed he was sent. He believed he was saving something. It didn't stay in the shadows for long. What began in the depths of anonymous message boards in the US spread like wildfire. It crossed oceans, hidden in quiet online messages. The theory kept changing, sneaking past barriers and reaching cities in Europe, Australia, and South America. In the chaos of lockdowns, protests, and political division, a new face began to appear, quiet, unassuming, a stranger in the crowd, holding a sign with 3 cryptic letters. Nobody knew where he came from, nobody asked, but the slogans he carried echoed across countries. On the streets of Berlin, in London's rallies, in the heart of Sao Paulo, words born in America, now shouted in dozens of tongues. Each place shaped the belief differently, fitting old fears into new conspiracies. But the core remained. Something dark was coming, and only the chosen could see it. After bans rolled out across Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, QAnon's presence seemed to vanish. Pages dissolved, channels blacked out. For a brief moment, the air felt still, like the storm had passed. But in the quiet, something shifted. The movement didn't die. It went underground. A digital ghost that was once loud and easy to spot now moved quietly through hidden apps like Telegram and Gab, places with no rules and no light. There, behind usernames cloaked in numbers, a new shape formed. Old beliefs came back, mixed with new fears about vaccines, 5G, and a world falling apart. The line between reality and fiction blurred. This wasn't just a conspiracy, it was a storm waiting to strike. People didn't just believe, they belonged. A digital prophet led the way, faceless, nameless, known only as Q. No one saw where he came from, no one saw where he went, but his voice echoed through encrypted channels, growing louder in the quiet. As the real world spun into chaos, elections contested, viruses unleashed, Q's shadow only deepened. He didn't shout, he guided me, step by step, thread by thread. A dangerous map formed under flickering screens, leading some too far to ever return. QAnon blurred the line between truth and fiction, pulling millions into its maze of secrets and shadows. As the world tries to move on, its echo still lingers. In the silence left behind, one question remains. Was this the end, or just another pause in the storm's return? Stay tuned for more conspiracies to blow your mind.